Of the 7 last statements of Jesus, these words, "Woman, behold your son, behold your mother," were the only ones directly spoken to his followers. In the midst of suffering greater than we can imagine, Jesus looked down from his cross and performed his final living act, an adoption. Jesus was no stranger to adoption, having been adopted himself. In their genealogical accounts, both Luke and Matthew simultaneously assert that Jesus is the Son of God, while also claiming the lineage of his adoptive father, Joseph the carpenter, as Jesus' own. This tells us then that adoption is as legitimate as blood. In his final act, Jesus drew on that experience and entrusted the love and care of his mother and his beloved disciple to each other through adoption. By the accounts we have, they loved and supported each other for the rest of their lives. I can identify with this Mother Mary, the one who is now the adoptive mother of the beloved disciple. I'm also an adoptive mother. I've had that experience of looking on each one of my children and knowing in my soul that I was beholding my sons, my daughter. Though they were too small to make a conscious choice at the time, their adoptive history is known to them, and I know that when they look at me, they behold their mother. I have friends who've adopted older children from China, and that process is without much preliminary preparation. It's simply, here is your son, here is your mother, and off they go to get to know one another, trusting in the Lord to make the adoption work. This final act of adoption by Jesus is symbolic of so much more. It's not simply about his mother and his beloved disciple. It's about every one of us. Each one of us is an adoptee through Christ. In Paul's letter to the Ephesians, we hear that God predestined us to be adopted into his own family by bringing us to him through Jesus Christ. As we share in Jesus' suffering, so also are we heirs to God's kingdom. This was always God's plan as a loving parent, that we all should be one human family bound together through Jesus in mutual compassion, care, and love. In this time of a global pandemic, we have an unprecedented opportunity to follow Jesus and to be that family of God. We can weep with our siblings, both in other countries such as Iran, Italy, and Spain, and here at home over our profound losses. We can shelter in our homes to protect the most vulnerable among us, our elderly, our sick, and our essential and vital workers who must carry on despite their fear. We can be generous in sharing our resources with and advocating for those who don't have the luxury of a home and all they need in this crucial time, and with those who will lose their sources of income through this crisis. We can give our time to virtually help teach a child, support a cause, or simply sit with someone who's feeling isolated or afraid. We can refuse to allow racial slurs to pass by unchallenged as people seek to assign blame for this crisis. And we can seek within ourselves, feeling how loving our neighbors as ourselves blesses us, and becoming acutely aware of our own blessings. Here and now, and indeed in every day of our lives, we have the opportunity to shine the love of God on all of our adopted family, with connectedness, with compassion, and with kindness. Woman, behold your son. Behold your mother. We give thanks for our adoption.